Welcome to Cory's Conscious Living. Hi guys, do you want to be in the cat club? Do you know what the cat club is? HEIDI, Cherry and VAYA have an exclusive club for members to come and join. It's $7 a month. Every 7th of the month you get 3 exclusive HEIDI, Cherry and VAYA stories that only you get to listen to. No one else that's not in the club gets to get these stories, so they're very special. If you want to know more about it, get a guardian or your mum and dad to help you to look at the link below the video to check out the cat club. Namaste, my little friend. Enjoy your story. Are you ready to meditate with Cory? Make sure that you're laid in your bed, snuggly and cuddly, and everything is just right in the world. You brushed your teeth, you're wearing your most comfortable, soft, snuggly pajamas, and you're ready to relax your body. Amelia was a very funny, sweet, smart, awesome girl. She loved to ride horses. She liked to do many things, but she'd been riding horses for a really long time. She had a favorite horse that was called Marley. Marley was very big and brown and strong, and she liked him a lot. And Marley liked Amelia. Mila. We can call her Mila. Marley had an idea. It was Mila's birthday. He wanted to do something really nice for her, but he wasn't sure how he could pull it all together. He'd been thinking of all the things that Amelia loved, all the things that she liked to do, all the people in the world that she loved, her friends, the school, the family. Amelia had gone to the stables to ride Marley. On this particular day, Jenna and Rylie, her friends, were there riding horses too. They were just going around in circles at first, just exercising the horses, practicing walking and galloping and all the other things that they do. And Amelia kept noticing that Marley's ears were twitching. His left ear would twitch and then his right ear would twitch. And that's okay, but they were really twitching, like as if they were radars or antennas moving, listening to all the different noises and the wind blowing and the voices that he could hear and everything else, but they were going crazy. His ears were twitching and bending and turning in different directions. Amelia thought this was really funny. She leant forward as if she was going to whisper to Marley and said, "What's going on? Are you okay, Marley?" Marley had never actually spoken, not used real words before. But on this particular day, something magical was blowing in the air. We don't quite know what it was. Maybe it was because it was Amelia's birthday. Maybe it was just because it was a magical day. Maybe it was because there was a full moon or something coming. Who knows? But on this day, when Mila leaned forward and said, "What's going on?" Marley cocked his head to the right and looked at her with his eyes from the side and said, "I want to do something really nice for your birthday, and I have an idea. Do you trust me?" At first, Amelia was a little bit taken back, like, "What? Did Marley just talk? Am I imagining things? Maybe I'm going a little bit crazy. What just happened?" And then Marley sensed what was going on with Amelia, and he turned around his head again and he said, "It's okay. I've always been able to talk. It's just for some reason today you can actually hear me." Amelia again was kind of taken back and a little bit surprised, to say the least. Her horse was talking to her. But then Marley quickly said, "Oh, and by the way, tell Jenna and Rylie to follow also." Amelia shouted Jenna and Rylie and said, "Hey guys, follow us." Jenna and Rylie followed Amelia and Marley and started walking behind them. Marley said, "We're going to need a little bit of imagination. We're going to need a little bit of magic. We're going to need a little bit of a song." Amelia was smiling really big. This was awesome. It was really cute and exciting and fun, and it was like they were going on an adventure, but she didn't know what it was. She just knew that it was magical and something cool and awesome was happening for her birthday, and she was starting to get really, really excited. She could feel bubbles and butterflies and tingles in her tummy, and she looked at Jenna, who was smiling, bright-eyed, as if to say, "What are we doing?" And then she looked at Rylie, and Rylie was pulling the same face like, "What's going on? Where are we going?" Marley said, "It's your birthday, Amelia. Let's do something really fun." Jenna and Rylie's horses seemed to be in on whatever kind of magic was going on. It was as if they knew already, maybe, that Marley had even planned this with the horses, because the horses just trotted behind as if they knew exactly what was going to happen next. Marley said, "Hold on tight, girls. We're in for a very magical journey." Amelia turned round and looked at her friends, and her friends were smiling really big and still looked happy and very, very, very excited. And she felt very happy and very, very, very excited. Nobody was scared. They trusted their horses. They'd known them a long time, and they'd been riding their horses for a long time. It was more about the magic and the possibility of what was going to happen next. Then all of a sudden, really, all of a sudden, really, I'm not kidding, the horses started to very slowly and very carefully pull away from the ground. Mila looked down as if to say, "No way. No way this is happening." She was peering over the side of Marley, looking down at the ground, and the ground was slowly getting further and further away, and yet they were rising higher and higher and higher off the ground, as if Marley was actually starting to somehow fly. She turned around and looked at her besties, and her best friends both had their mouths wide open as if to say, "What is happening?" Still smiling though. They were still happy. Their horses were very slowly, very carefully starting to raise off the ground also. And then Molly said, "Hold on tight to my mane. Are you ready to fly? Really fly?" Amelia said, "Are we really going to fly?" She turned around really fast and said, "We're going to fly, girls." Marley said, "We're going to fly, but we need some extra magic. I need you to sing for me, Mila. Sing your favorite song." Mila took a couple of seconds and thought about it, and then she started to sing. She started to sing really loud, like from the base of her tummy. She opened her mouth really wide and opened her heart and opened her tummy, and everything just expanded, and this song just bursted out of her mouth as if she was stood in chorus singing, "Oh," like the sweetest, most perfect, most magical sounds were coming out of Mila's mouth. And as she sang, it was like that was the magic that Marley needed to fly. Amelia felt this rustle and like a movement and a shifting around the saddle that was on the back of Marley. She looked down and turned around a little bit so she could see what was happening behind her. And as she did that, these golden wings started to grow as if they were growing like flowers towards the sun out of Marley's back. They got bigger and bigger and bigger, and she turned around to look at her friends, and her friends were doing the same thing. They were looking at their horses growing wings because Amelia was singing and her voice was magical, and the magic was helping these horses to actually grow golden wings. And they were all sparkly and shimmery, and it was like this sound as if their wings were singing, like this perfect pitch as they expanded and opened and spread really, really big, wide open golden wings on the back of Marley and Jenna and Rylie's horses. The 3 horses had the biggest, most beautiful golden wings. Amelia stopped singing. She was in shock. She couldn't believe it. It was so amazing. But then Marley said, "Keep singing, keep singing." So Mila kept singing, and as she sung louder and louder and more, their wings started to move. And one by one, the girls' horses took flight. At first they stayed quite low. They didn't want to scare the girls. They were flying just above the trees. It was amazing. Mila looked down and she could see all the leaves and the trees, the tops of the trees. Who gets to see the tops of the trees very often? The wind was blowing in her hair. She was so happy. This was crazy, but she was so happy. She had the biggest smile on her face. It was like the bestest birthday present anyone could ever think of. Or that's what she thought, until it actually got better. Marley said, "Reach down in my saddle pocket. I brought something for you." Marley had big saddle pockets on each side of his saddle. Amelia reached down to one of the pockets on the left, and she opened it up, and 2 little heads popped out. Her rabbit, Oreo, his cute bunny ears flopped out of the saddlebag, and Obi, her guinea pig, and they both had like this cutest facial expression as if they were actually smiling at her like, "This is amazing." She pulled them both out of the saddlebag pocket and put them on her lap between her legs so that they were sat right there with her as he flew them around the sky. Mila thought, okay, this is absolutely amazing. But now that she had Oreo and Obi with her, it was even more amazing. And then it got even more amazing because she noticed where Marley was flying. He was flying towards the ocean, one of her favorite places to go. She loved to play and ride the waves. She loved to collect all the different colors and shapes and sizes and the shells. She loved the beach. It was one of her favorite places. And Marley was flying her over the ocean. The water looked so blue and clear down below. She was listening as the waves crashed on the shore. The sound of the ocean moving back and forth was so calming and relaxing. She loved the sound of the waves. Up from where she was as she flew over the beach and the ocean, down below, she noticed she was way too high to see the awesome shells. But she'd never seen the ocean from here before. It was a whole new magical experience. She could smell the salt and the sea. She could smell the seaweed. It was blowing around her body and the wind was blowing through her hair, and it felt crisp and slightly damp because they were so close to the water. At one point, the 3 horses lowered down enough that the horses just splashed their hooves through the top of the ocean. It was so cool. The ocean sprayed up and wet the girls just a little bit. And they all giggled and laughed. And then Marley and the other 2 horses flew higher once again, so she could look down. And as she looked down this time, as they went higher and higher, she noticed some big-looking fish that looked like dolphins or something. There was about 5 of them swimming through the top of the ocean. And as she watched from up above for a few more minutes, they were definitely dolphins. They swam up to the surface and dived out of the ocean water and then dived back in, all in unison. It was the best. This was her bestest birthday ever. She looked back at Jenna and Rylie, and they were just smiling away, holding tightly to their horses' reins, watching all the different sights, having all the same experiences she was having. She was so happy her friends were there. She was super happy that she had Oreo and Obi and Marley all there with her, experiencing this most magical birthday present. The sun started to go down, started to get just a little bit darker, as if the evening was pulling nearer and nearer. Marley said, "Open the right saddle pocket, Mila. There's something in there for you." Marley knew that this was really overwhelming, and the excitement and the giddiness and all of the feels that she was feeling was probably making her tired by now. Amelia reached down and opened the pocket, and there inside were 2 of her favourite stuffies, Pickles and Pickles Jr. She pulled them out and snuggled them close to her chest. Marley said, "We're just gonna fly real gentle around and around the sky. Why don't you get comfortable, Amelia? Put your head down on my neck, hold on and snuggle in, and I'll keep you safe. You can rest as we fly." That sounded so good to Mila. She looked around at Jenna and Rylie, and they'd already settled themselves down and snuggled in to the necks of their horses. They were watching the night sky as they were flying up above the rest of the world. Amelia laid herself down and snuggled into Oreo and Obi, Pickles and Pickles Jr. They were like pillows. They were warm and soft and fluffy. And the smell of the night sky was lulling her into a really nice, relaxed place. She noticed her eyes were becoming heavier. Every time she blinked, it was harder to reopen her eyes. But she didn't want to miss anything. It was all so special and so perfect. The movement as Marley's wings moved up and down, up and down, and the swishing noise it made as his wings moved through the air was really relaxing and comforting. She started to let her body drop even deeper, to relax even more onto Marley's neck and Marley's back. She knew she had her guinea pig and her rabbit and her 2 stuffies tucked in nice and safe. They were all snuggling together. All was good in the world. Everything was perfect. She was thinking about how she would tell her mum and her brother Frankie and her dad and her gran and everyone she loved about this. What would Mumsy say, she thought. But then she was so comfortable and so safe that the thoughts and the worries just drifted straight out of her head. And she found herself with her eyes fully closed. And before long, Amelia was fast asleep on the back of her favorite horse that was actually flying through the sky. Now that is the best birthday present anyone could ask for. The end.